Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today I want to discuss Stomaria's next land purchase.
This is how nations are built and empires are forged. For every nation that becomes integrated into the empire, for every territory that we acquire, for every citizen that joins us, for every drop of water we collect, for every seed that we sow, for every watt of energy we produce, for every silver bar that we stamp, we are securing our future.
So as many of our citizens and supporters will already know, Stomaria already has a territory, a province called Southwood, and this is a woodland plot that we are utilising for events, for agriculture and for various other things. However, we are obviously a very expansionist nation. We are an expansionist empire. We want to be able to have territory all over the British Isles and potentially beyond that. And that is what this video is about. It's where we are going to buy the next territory, when we're going to buy the next territory, how we're going about buying that next territory, why we're buying that territory, and so on and so forth. So these are the sort of questions that I want to answer in this particular video. So we'll start with the obvious one. Where are we going to buy the next Stomarian territory? And this is a very open-ended question, as are all of the questions that I'm about to ask. It's more of a conversation I want to start, I suppose, with the Stomarian community, because we have made no plans. We have not identified any areas in which we are going to prioritise. And so this is quite exciting, because it's a new chapter in Stomaria's history, the next step forward. So where can we buy the next Stomarian territory? Now, I am based in the southeast of England, and the plot that we have, the territory they have, Southwood, that is also in the southeast. It is about an hour and a quarter or so to actually get to, certainly from where I am, but it is not, inaccessible. I have travelled there well over 100 times over the years, no more so than in recent months as we prepared the woodland for the Imperial Summit that we had a week or two ago. But in terms of where our next territory is going to be, it doesn't have to be in the southeast. I don't necessarily have to be within close proximity to it. What is important is that someone that is within Stomaria does have close proximity to it. Because my ideal scenario is to have fully committed Stomarian citizens, people that I've known for a while, people that I am confident are going to be committed to what we're doing. I would love for them to be able to have a territory near to where they reside, not necessarily near where I reside, but near where they reside, in order for them to govern it. Because that is our intention, that is our goal. We want to have citizens become governors of particular territories in order to utilise it, in order to benefit from it. It might be a case of installing solar panels and wind turbines and using that to produce energy which can supply Stomarian citizens with energy, or perhaps even sell it back to the grid. It might be a case of buying land which is forested and has a renewable source of wood or timber that we can utilise for biomass energy, in the sense that we can have tree plantations, for lack of a better word, term. Or it might be grassland for livestock, or it might be suitable for crops or wheats, or it might even be a building plot of some sort, but I'll get onto all that in a minute. But the point is, I want to have plots of land across these fair isles, and I want Stomarian citizens to benefit from that, and that is what we are trying to do. Now, going on from the question of where, the question of where is simply answered, it could be anywhere. It just depends where we have people that are committed enough to the community, to the nation, in order to justify us buying a plot of land there. In terms of what we are going to buy, what kind of land we're going to buy, as I just alluded to, it could be any kind of land. Now, depending on the land, is going to determine the price, because obviously if it's a building plot, then it's going to be a lot more expensive than a woodland plot or a plot of grassland or something like that. But the what is less important to me at this time than the where, in the sense that we can say that we want a building plot, we can say that we want an agricultural plot, we can say we want a woodland plot, but if we can't identify a suitable location, then that's really the main issue. We need to know where we're going to be buying this land. So that's the question first and foremost. So in terms of where we are buying land, in terms of what the land is going to be, those are two very important questions that we need to really consider, but where is far more important. Now, in terms of how we are actually going to buy this land, this is something that has crossed my mind, because the land that we have purchased so far, and 95% of the funds that have travelled through Stomaria has gone directly through the imperial family, gone directly through me, and so there's been very little involvement from the wider Stomarian community in the acquisition of land, or indeed much anything else. The contributions that we do receive are obviously greatly appreciated, but it really is a drop in the ocean compared to what the imperial family has invested into this community, into the nation that we are building, which, you know, I'm not obsessed about that as such. This is something that is incredibly important to me and to my family, and so I don't mind paying the lion's share, if you like, for everything we've done thus far. However, it does obviously limit us to some degree or another, because if I'm having to buy every plot of land we have going forward, then it is going to be a slower, more grinding process. And so some other options have been floated and are possibilities. Some I'm a bit more wary about, some I have made comments on in the past. So for instance, we could set aside funds, the imperial family could set aside funds to the purchase of land, and that could be raised further through voluntary contributions from supporters of Stomaria or Stomarian citizens, depending on whether or not they wanted to invest in the land. But then we would need to decide how that land was going to be divided, in the sense that who would have total ownership of it, or if certain would have multiple owners, or would you have just one owner and then people would just be invested into the land. Or perhaps we could go in with, instead of any citizen or supporter that wanted to invest into it, maybe we'd just go with some larger single investors who are interested in contributing financially in a very real and meaningful way. Maybe we could do it that way, but again, same problem in terms of the legalities of it. It's a lot easier with Southwood because I bought the land, it's mine, I can do what I want with it. But if there are other people involved, that's when it becomes a bit more complicated. I don't rule out the idea entirely, but the issue does stem from the fact that the more people you have involved, and if those people have a say in how that land is governed, the more complicated it gets. It could be the case that we do have particular provinces which are governed differently from others, in the sense that Southwood, as a province, that's directly owned by me, it's paid for by me, there's no question as to who owns it and who governs it and where the control and power lies. But maybe there could be some outlier provinces which are done through crowdfunding, for instance. We might do this on a smaller scale, just to make sure there's no major costly legal complications. You have to buy hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of land if you're not sure exactly how it's going to pan out. That maybe, you know, £5,000 or £10,000 to buy a small woodland plot somewhere, an acre of land somewhere, and maybe we can trial it in that way, as much as you can play around with £5,000 or £10,000. But you take my point. It's just about trying to see what's going to work here. So in terms of how we're going to raise the funds for this, I would suggest that most of it's probably going to come from the imperial family. However, there are options on the table for other people to potentially get involved, but the details of that really is up for discussion. And just while we have a little break in the proceedings here, I just want to say that this is probably going to be happening, well, I suppose the answer in the question of when it's going to happen, sometime in the next 6 to 9 months. We want to solidify what exactly we're going to do, because the actual purchase of the land, the next territory that we acquire, the next province we acquire, I would like to do this at some point in 2024, but it's more likely to happen in 2025. Now, and something might happen, positive or negative, which will either bring forward that date or push back that date. I'm not giving specific deadlines. I'm just saying what I would like to do is next year, if I can, I'd like to acquire the next territory. If not, it will be 2025, which would be the year after that. And just saying 2025 being, you know, only, well, 18 months away at this point is quite a terrifying thought, and makes me calls into question my own mortality and how long I've got left to actually do all this. But that will by the by. So the question of where the land is, what the land's going to be, you know, when we're going to do this, and how we're going to go about doing this, sort of, these are all open-ended questions in the sense that I want to hear from the wider community. What are the answers that you would like to see to these questions? Because going forward, I would like more involvement from the Stomarian community in the acquisition of territory, in the utilization of the territory, in the governance of the territory. We can't establish a nation, we can't establish an empire if it is just me. I am always doing the lion's share of the work, I'm always doing the lion's share of the investment into this community that we're building, and that's absolutely fine. But this isn't like a lot of micronations, this isn't supposed to be a one-man band, and I would like more people. I mean, we have plenty of citizens across not just British Isles, but also across the world, and just being able to give them the opportunity to take the next step is really what I'm after here. So as I say, if you have any thoughts yourself, let me know. And I suppose this all culminates in the final question, in the sense that we've covered when we want to do this, how we're going to be doing it, where we're going to be doing it, and all the rest of it. But I suppose the question is why? Why are we doing this? And the answer is very simple. We are committed to building a genuine nation. We are committed to building a genuine community that aspires to become more self-reliant and aspires to attain greater levels of self-determination through legal and legitimate means. We're not interested in claiming public parks or the moon or some fictional planet or something like that. We can't do anything with that. It means nothing. We need to be able to acquire land that we can actually utilize. And in order to accomplish our objectives, this is the only way we're going to be able to do this. If we want energy independence, we can't have solar panels and wind turbines in our public park. If we want to attain more self-reliance through the acquisition of, you know, food, growing our own food, we can't do that by saying that we've planted 10,000 virtual potatoes in Minecraft. If we want to provide our own water, there's no good saying we claim a piece of Antarctica and we're going to be using the ice there to melt it down and provide our own water that way, because obviously we can't access it and it would be a bit detrimental to the area as it stands. But you take my point. It's pointless claiming all of these territories, be they virtual or fictional or 15,000 miles away, because it just doesn't mean anything. It doesn't accomplish anything. And that's what sets Stomaria and the nations that make up its empire apart from a lot of others out there, because we are rationalists, we are realists, we understand what we have to do in order to accomplish our goals. And this involves the acquisition of private freehold land, and various types of land at that. This is a slow process. It's methodical. It's something we have to give a lot of time to. It's something that we have to take a great deal of risk with, because there's a lot of capital on the table, and a lot of trust has to go into certain individuals actually managing the territories that we acquire, if those individuals have been recognised and appointed to look after those territories. There is a great deal of risk. There is a lot of anxiety, I suppose, in taking these next few steps, because as we get larger, as we become more sophisticated and we develop and we grow, we are going to have to rely more heavily on other people, and so we have to vet them quite carefully. But the point stands, if we are going to do this, if we're going to establish this community, if we're going to establish this nation, if we're going to build this empire, then we really need to start going for it. And we have made massive strides, great strides, and I'm really pleased to see it. But it has been 4 years, and I feel like we've not accomplished as much as we could have. And I really just want to push this home as fast as possible, but in as sensible a way as possible, because everything that I'm doing, I am laying the foundations, as far as I'm concerned, for Princess Eleanor. My vision that I have for Stomaria, for the Empire of Stomaria, is not measured in months or years. It's measured in decades and generations. And everything that I'm doing because I have a plan for Eleanor in the future. I want to lay the groundworks for the next generation of Stomarians. And this is ultimately what this is all about. This is like a personal sacrifices that we all have to make, that's to say that our generation of Stomarians, so that all of the seeds that we sow will bear fruit for the people that come after us, for the community that we're building, and the children of the citizens that we have now will hopefully be as invested and interested into Stomaria as their parents, and they will take it to the next level. And it's a very exciting prospect for me to be able to think about what the future could be in the future generations, in hundreds of years' time, if Stomaria can weather the storms ahead. If I can survive long enough to pass on everything onto Princess Eleanor, who would then become Empress Eleanor of Stomaria, that is my goal, that is my aspiration, and trying to set everything up in preparation for that, in building the community and acquiring the land and utilising that land and having the infrastructure in place. If I can get all of that in place, then I will have done what I was set out to do. I will have accomplished my own aspirations for Stomaria, for hopefully Eleanor to take all of that and then take it to the next level. And that is ultimately what this is all about. This is a generational community. This is a generational nation, and I'm very excited about how we're going to do this in the months and the years ahead, in terms of acquiring the next territory, the next stepping stone on our journey. So with all of that in mind, if you did support Stomaria and you wanted to show support for Stomaria, then please feel free to give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.